This is me back in 2018 with a couple of buckets filled with snow and salt, trying to explain to Statens Vegvesen what is the effect of salt on snow and how it is possible to reduce it. It took me a couple of years, but at the end, luckily, the results of my PhD supported Statens Vegvesen to reduce the amount of application rate of salt on roads during snowfalls. You don't need to read the tweet, it's just a tweet from NTNU highlighting what I achieved. So if you want to complain with someone about how little salt there's on roads or how much your car is rusting, you know where I work. But of course, the road salting is a small tiny niche about the environmental challenges that we are facing, and driven by my passion about research, I decided to broaden my horizon into the environmental sustainability and more in general about sustainability. As Gandhi will say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. As I made my first step into the Norwegian context, I decided to keep walking into the Norwegian context. And Norway is very strongly committed towards the sustainable transition. For this reason, mainly because Norway is a leading country in different industrial sectors, but also because since it is a world leading and want to remain a world leading country, it needs to reduce the amount of environmental emissions that is producing. And of course, such concerns need to be dealt also with another aspect. Norway needs to protect this beautiful and stunning landscape that has. I took personally this picture in Lofoten from the Reinebringen-toppen in the south of Lofoten, and is strongly suggested. If you've never been there, I strongly suggest it if you want to go in this kind of journeys. But back to the main topic, customers therefore ask for attractive, competitive, but also sustainable products. But what are the challenges related to integrate sustainability inside the product development, and what are the current conditions for the companies? In order to understand such challenges, I decided to literally jump on a train on my way to the companies and start to interview the companies related to the project to understand what are their challenges and how research can help them. And firstly, I started mainly I wanted to understand what are the boundaries between the sustainability department and the product development department, how the environment, social and governance perspective, which are the pillars of the sustainability reporting, are integrated into the product development, and how the product development communicate information to the sustainability department. And this picture comes from one of our partners, which is also here, and they are developing services for energy mapping. Specifically, they want to support industries in better improving the understanding of the energy practices related to the industrial concerns. And different companies have different products and different challenges. However, although they are different, it is possible to observe that there are clear patterns inside these challenges. For example, how they deal with the fast changes in the regulations, and for example, also how they communicate the environmental sustainability data through all the supply chain of their products. And of course, these are key aspects which, if approached with more systematic approach, can definitely improve the product development in a more sustainable way, and also integrating more the sustainability as a quality of the product development. Research shows that there is a nearly 80% of success rate if we think about such challenges at early phase of projects. So in the strategic phase, if we include such aspects, there is higher chances that the product development will go smoothly and as designed at the early phase. But of course, this is not only a challenge of one single company, the product development company, but instead it should be a collaborative environment between all the different stakeholders involved in the product development through all the supply chain. So it is important that all together, they gather together to start discussing the possible potential challenges that they face. And as Isam said, through the use of digital technologies and complex big data, it is possible to bring the sustainable transition, the vision of it, into the realization of product development, which include the sustainability inside as quality. The picture here shows different constituents of a system, a car, and each single constituent create emissions, so it is important to quantify and understand the emissions related to each single aspect into every single aspect of his life. And of course, to do that, there are important three main aspects: the use of the right tools, the use of knowledge of what to measure, when to measure, and which to measure, and also 2 cups of coffee is always available on the desk of the specialist dealing with these things. All the three are very important to better integrate sustainability. So what I aim to achieve is to support companies into make the sustainability inside technologies in a way that people can use the technologies in a more responsible way without losing their cozy environment, as this cabin with the solar panels, for example. And hopefully, from the actual condition, I would like to bring a more systematic perspective on how to deploy and improve, integrate the sustainability inside the product development. As I did for the road salting and Statens Vegvesen, I would like to give some advices, more practical, on companies. So that was my presentation. The presentation is within the H-SEIF project. If you want to know more about the project, you can take a quick picture on the link and have a look at in Google. Otherwise, you can talk with me, and I will be more than happy to see how research can support you.